Hey everybody, Tony D with a Screenwriter's Rant on The Bubble. A movie about making movies. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 8. Check it out on Amazon. Kindle Unlimited is free, and I still get paid. My cohort, Little Jones, on the couch, relaxing. I'm going to leave her alone. She's a little squirmy, and she smells terrible. Anywho, checking out this movie. I just did a take of this, and I'm so kind of angry about this movie. I kind of went off the rails, so I have to be careful because I'm here on YouTube, and you can only say certain things. So I have to talk in code, so prepare for my code. The premise of this movie is it takes place in October 2020 when a certain, let's say, beer virus is active. So there's all sorts of testing going on. And so they're having trouble making the movie, right? They're having trouble making the movie, which is basically like a version of Jurassic Park, like one of the many sequels, but they're shooting it in an English mansion, and that's supposed to be funny and ironic, and normally it would be. Now, this is from Judd Apatow and Pam Brady are the writers, so it's a very inside Hollywood thing. A lot of stars in it: David Duchovny, Kate McKinnon, Key from Key and Peele. I mean, everybody's in this. Here, I'm just gonna play a little bit of the credits right here. You can see Iris Apatow, Fred Armisen. I mean, everybody's in this. Pedro Pascal. So you can see everybody's in this movie because it's a movie about Hollywood. Now, they're not playing themselves. And what I gather from this trailer is they're making the movie. It's rated R. It's on Netflix. They're making the movie, and they get jammed up because of the beer virus. And so they get stuck on set for a long period of time. And then that's supposed to be funny because millionaire celebrities being inconvenienced is hilarious. Now, they're not playing themselves, which would have been a slight improvement, but the problem, I think, is this. Judd Apatow, like most of Hollywood, he's not alone in this. I think they're tone deaf to normal people. Now, to do comedy, you have to kind of connect with people. And granted, this is a Hollywood movie about Hollywood, so I get it. You know, it's not going to connect with people, but what Hollywood fails to understand is there has been a break between the public and Hollywood. It all started, well, it didn't start with the Imagine video, but that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, right? After that Imagine video, people were furious at celebrities simply because it wasn't that, you know, normally it would have been fine, right? Normally, oh, there's a crisis and a bunch of celebrities do a funny video to try to be cool. No, this time it was infuriating because what they didn't understand is while we were all cooped up in our houses and apartments freaking out, they had glorious mansions to hang out in, and they have stacks of cash reserves that they didn't have to worry about the future, while the rest of us did. The rest of us were worried. This movie is a comedy about their worry as, you know, actors and people in Hollywood. Now, it's not the actual people playing themselves, but the problem is it kind of connects to that. And now Judd Apatow, who wrote it, and Pam Brady, who wrote it, Judd Apatow, who directed it, obviously he would connect very well with this because he lives in Hollywood. He lives in that circle. So this was probably his life during the lockdowns. So for him and his friends, this could be a very funny movie. But for the normies, do you understand what you're laughing at here? Do you understand that people are still in lockdown in California? That children have to wear face masks at schools? And Governor Gavin Newsom has been caught multiple times, breaking lockdown. And it got so bad that the people of California tried to recall him, and Hollywood helped him stay in office. Okay? So when you talk about the excess, when you talk about someone who is an appropriate target for comedy, you're talking about the people who are currently running California, number one, and Hollywood, number two. Because you people were on the wrong side of things. And I can't get into specifics, but you know what I'm saying. You're on the wrong side. You were on the wrong side of, let's say, lockdowns. You're on the wrong side of a certain medical procedure. Not because you wanted to help people, but because you went too far. He didn't just say, well, you should do that medical procedure because it's probably a good thing. No, 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 no. Many of you went too far. Many of you accused people in public on Twitter and other places, other social medias, of being unpatriotic, of being racist and bigoted and stupid and ignorant. And I could go on and on. Terrible things. You called your audience terrible things. This is why no one wants to watch the Oscars. No one wants to root for you. Because what do you see when you see the Oscars or the SAG Awards or any other awards? What you see are celebrities, and I don't mean to pick on these two guys. What you see are celebrities without mask, surrounded by people with masks. Now, how do you think that looks to the people of California when they have to have their kids masked up? It don't look good. It does not look good. And this represents Hollywood. So, normally, when the public is with you, a movie like this, lambasting Hollywood, would be fun, cheeky, self-effacing. This isn't self-effacing unless you're making these people really awful. And unless you're really addressing it, you're doing a comedy about being cooped up. You don't even know what it was like. You have millions of dollars, Judd. Being cooped up, who cares? You had millions of dollars. First off, you didn't need to be cooped up because you had millions of dollars. You could pretty much do what you want. Any costs that you would have needed to absorb to get out of your house or go to Fiji or wherever, that's not a problem at all, right? I mean, you could have done it. If you wanted to get out of the country, you could have made it happen. Yeah, there was a tiny window of time where, no, you couldn't have, and you were kind of like us, but for the most part, you were mobile. Look at where this movie is set. This is where they're trapped. A luxurious English estate. Now, it sucks to be trapped wherever you're trapped, but look at it. You're in a beautiful place. I mean, if I had to be trapped during the lockdowns, I would love to be trapped there with a endless supply of free food, internet. I'd be good. Oh, and I get to be in a movie too, a huge movie, and get paid the entire time. Yeah, sign me up. So, what's this comedy about? Do you remember the rule of punching up? This isn't punching up. Okay? This is lambasting, not even lambasting these people. You're going for the drugs. It's been done a million times, Judd. These people, you're not presenting them the way they actually are. And comedy requires a certain amount of truth. And I think the problem is you're tone deaf to the problem. And the problem is celebrities are just tone deaf. They're tone deaf to the problems of real people, which is why they supported this narrative all throughout the lockdowns. Oh, and now they're doing the virtue signal about Ukraine. Are we going to get a movie about that in 2 years? Going to get the movie about Ukraine and what a joke that was? This movie is, I won't say it. I wouldn't give a second of my time to this movie other than to rail against it. I don't care if it's funny. I don't care if it gets great reviews. I don't care if the score on Rotten Tomatoes is 100. I won't see this movie. F this movie. And F the people in it, quite frankly. Because you could have done a real movie about this. And that movie's coming 2 years from now when it's safe to make. Oh no, the movie we needed The movie that would have been subversive, you needed to make last year. But of course, you never would have got it greenlit, right? Hollywood never would have let that one through, unless somebody else was president. Then it would have been okay, because then the narrative would have changed. So I don't like this, and I find myself incredibly angry that you would make this movie and try to pass it on as a fun, zany comedy when people were suffering during that time. People were suffering. And that doesn't mean you can't make a comedy about it, but I think you're ignoring that suffering with this movie and co-opting it for your Hollywood buddies. Oh, we were suffering too. Oh, it was wacky. We couldn't get our cocaine. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, F you. F you. And F this movie. I'm not breaking it down. We already know what it is. First act, they're making a movie. Second act, they get trapped because of the lockdown. Third act, they somehow manage to make the movie, even though it almost falls apart. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? It's a movie. It's a movie made by millionaires for millionaires. Your utter contempt for your audience is showing. And someday you will hopefully very soon live to regret as your ability to attract an audience disintegrates. It won't just leave, it will disintegrate. As you see things disintegrate now, your audience, and I'm talking about everyone in this movie specifically, except maybe David Duchovny. He's got a longer record. Judd Apatow, man, he was a guy who was active on Twitter about many topics, like the topic in this movie. And once again, you're wrong. You're wrong. All right, I'm done. This movie, it's infuriating. That's it for me, Tony D. Little Jones asleep on the couch. I might go see Batman, so I'm going to save a video for later in case I do. So look for my The Batman review if I go see it, if I can get into the damn theater. I know it's the first night, and we'll see you in the next one.